I've made a list of 20 albums that I believe are important for every musician to study. These are some of the greatest jazz albums of all time, but they're not necessarily the most popular. Hopefully, I don't need to encourage you to listen to A Love Supreme, but I've spent a lot of time over the years actively studying and transcribing the tunes on these records, and so there are bits and pieces of all of them that have inspired my own playing. So grab a glass of your favorite beverage, your best headphones, and let's dive in. That's 8:15 in the morning, so maybe I'll save this for later. Kicking off our list at number 20 is Portrait in Jazz by Bill Evans. I love Bill's delicate touch and the way he plays with these impressionistic style voicings. This is his track When I Fall in Love. Number 19 is Solo Monk by Thelonious Monk. This is the first track right at the top of the record called Dinah. Monk has always been a little bit polarizing with his unique feel for rhythm and articulations, but I love it. Number 18 is Your Mother Should Know by Brad Mehldau. Brad is one of the greatest jazz pianists alive today, and he's known for playing his interpretations of popular music, like from Radiohead. But this album is all Beatles tunes. Hold on to your butts. Here's I Saw Her Standing There. Number 17 is the Monty Alexander Trio, live from the Montreux Jazz Festival. I've personally listened to this album hundreds of times. If you've ridden in the car with me, you know that's probably true, because I probably made you listen to it with me. Monty is Jamaican, and so he's got a Caribbean feel to his playing. But my favorite is the way he plays the blues, like this solo from Work Song. The Cone Concert by Keith Jarrett, a completely improvised concert, is arguably one of the best piano albums ever made. I think it might actually still stand as the best-selling piano album of all time. Number 15 is Alive at the Village Vanguard. It was a duet concert between Esperanza Spalding and Fred Hirsch. From what I understand, they only went in with a vague idea of what they might play, and they just kind of went with whatever was feeling in the room. It was recorded about 6 years ago, but it wasn't released until 2023, and it's quickly become a favorite. Now, this track is kind of different, but go with it. It's really clever. This is called Loro. Number 14 is an album by Chick Corea called Solo Piano Standards. I debated heavily with myself which Chick Corea album I should include. Light as a Feather, My Spanish Heart, Return to Forever, but I picked this one because I think it's less likely that you've spent as much time with it as the others, and I really think that you should. Here is It Could Happen to You. Number 13 is Bird and Diz at Carnegie Hall. Bird, of course, being Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie. It's an absolutely brilliant bebop record originally recorded at Carnegie Hall in 1947. I love the call and response soloing here in this track, Leapfrog. Number 12 is On VJ by Wayne Shorter. I almost didn't include this album because it's a compilation of recordings from his time on VJ Records. But if I'm being real, ever since Wayne passed a year ago, this is the album that I turn on more than any other. Here's Black Orpheus. Number 11 is one of the best-selling modern jazz albums of all time, Headhunters by Herbie Hancock. Watermelon Man is such an inventive track. Now we've still got 10 more albums to go, but it's important to me that we listen to and study the original tracks when we make videos like this. But because I'm using the original copyrighted music, I'm not able to monetize these videos. So if you would help me out by hitting the like button and make sure that you're subscribed, that will help me continue to grow the channel and make more free educational jazz content like this. All right, the number 10 is Live at the Doug by Barry Harris. Now, if you've followed this channel at all, you know the profound impact that Barry's teaching has had on me. I've talked a lot about the different techniques that I've learned studying Barry's methods, so it's only appropriate that we make room for one of Barry's albums on this list. And this is a track called No Name Blues. Barry once told me that bebop scales were bullshit. Now, it's kind of controversial, but if you want to know what he means by that, I made a whole video up here about his dominant scale rules, and you can hear those rules all over this track. Number 9 is Ella and Louie. And look at the all-star cast on this album. Ella Fitzgerald, of course, on vocals. Louis Armstrong, also on vocals, but trumpet too. But also Oscar Peterson on piano, Herb Ellis on guitar, Ray Brown on bass, and Buddy Rich on drums. What a crazy cast. Here's a little bit of Moonlight in Vermont.
Pennies in a stream, falling leaves, a sycamore, moonlight in Vermont. I see finger waves, ski trails on a mountainside, snow light.
Number 8 is Lullaby of Birdland by George Shearing. George's block chord voicings in closed position with these diminished chords in between them for movement is a technique that I play and teach all the time. This is the second track on that album, I'll Never Smile Again. Number 7 is by Charles Mingus, one of the best jazz albums ever made. Charles liked to blend hard bop with gospel and blues, and this particular song was an elegy to saxophonist Lester Young called Goodbye Pork Pie Hat. There is so much emotion in this solo. Number 6 is from Billie Holiday. Her album Lady Sings the Blues was taped just a few years before she passed away. And who doesn't love God Bless the Child?
Yes, the strong get smaller while the weak ones fade. Empty pockets don't ever make the grade. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own.
Number 5 was live recorded at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. It's a combined concert of some of the greatest jazz musicians of the time, and they called it the greatest jazz concert in the world. I'm not sure it completely lives up to its name, but it was one hell of a concert. This is Sweet Georgia Brown, one of the last recordings by Coleman Hawkins, accompanied by the Oscar Peterson Trio. Number 4 is Moanin' by Art Blakey, which I don't think really needs much of an introduction. This album was originally self-titled, but when the track Moanin' became such a mega hit, they retitled the album. So just check out this trumpet solo by Lee Morgan over the first head. Picking these final three was really tough, and because arguably there are 1,000 albums which deserve to be here. So let me know down in the comments which ones you think I missed, and perhaps we'll do a follow-up video with the ones that you selected. Now, number 3 is Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, perhaps the most influential album ever recorded. It was the pioneering force behind the modal jazz movement. Here is Blue and Green. Miles Davis was known to launch a jazz career or two. Think about the players on this album and think about where they went after this album came out. Cannonball Adderley on alto sax, John Coltrane on tenor sax, Bill Evans on piano. Wynton Kelly also played piano, but I think only on Freddie Freeloader. Paul Chambers was on bass and Jimmy Cobb was on drums. Number 2 is the album Night Train by the Oscar Peterson Trio. This album has some of the most important jazz trio recordings of all time, including Georgia on My Mind, Bag's Groove, Sea Jam Blues, but none of these are more important than the final track, Hymn to Freedom. And number 1, my favorite jazz album of all time, is Concert by the Sea by the amazing, brilliant Errol Garner. Recorded live at Carmel in 1955, featuring Errol on piano, Eddie Calhoun on bass, and Denzel Best on drums. This track is a bit of a deep cut from that concert. It's All Right With Me. Now, it's a bit unfair of me to limit this list to just 20 albums when there are so many that deserve to be here, but we could be here all day. So tell me again down in the comments, which ones do you think I missed, and we'll do it in the next video. Cheers. Yeah, still too early.